Welcome to the Seven Figure CEO podcast, where we talk all things marketing strategies, business systems, personal development insights, and conduct interviews with successful CEOs and entrepreneurs. Learn the exact strategies on how seven-figure CEOs market and scale their companies with your host, Chris Rodriguez. Welcome to the Seven Figure CEO podcast. I have two very special guests, my favorite twins ever, Guy and Rob Pendergrass. They are third-degree black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and own and operate Pendergrass Academy of Martial Arts, which has been open for the last 15 years. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris. Good to be here.
Yes, we got Guy and Rob, two of my absolute most favorite people. They run a super successful jiu-jitsu school. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it? How, when did you open up? Number of students, what kind of programs? Are you predominantly kids, adults? Just give us a little history lesson.
Sure. Well, we've officially started business in 2007 as far as opening up our first retail shop. Obviously taught a lot longer prior to that, but we started, so it's been about 15 years now. I think currently we're sitting at about 347 students, somewhere in that ballpark.
Guys, talk about knowing your numbers, right?
We're pretty close. I think we had 2 signups last night, so that's not why I'm 100% sure. But doing great in that respect. What else?
So we focus on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We're Jiu-Jitsu black belts. We have a Muay Thai program. We don't have a lot to do with that. I mean, we both have trained Muay Thai, but we have a couple of instructors that lead that. We have about 7 employees.
Mm-hmm. And we're pretty much an even split between kids and adults. Mm-hmm. We know a lot of schools that, usually the adult program may be a lot larger than the kids or vice versa. And for us, it's pretty even split between our adults and our youth program.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Now, I know you said you didn't have much to do with the Muay Thai program, but I believe one of you or maybe both of you have fought MMA back in the day, right?
I had 7 fights, and Rob, you had 1.
I won and done. I won and I'm out.
I love saying that too. I was one and done. It was a bucket list thing. Just wanted to say that I could do it. And I just tell everybody I'm undefeated,
That's right. Same here.
I wasn't undefeated, but I had a winning record.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, we're here in 2022. I know you guys just had a record quarter one. You set a goal in certain percentage you wanted to increase from the previous year, but we got to ask about COVID, right? This was something that really shook up a lot of martial arts schools. There's many martial arts schools that are no longer with us. So how were you guys affected by COVID? And if you had to kind of sum up your game plan, what was it and how did it work out?
So the biggest thing was just going virtual. We lost about 20% of our student base, is what we lost.
At that current time, the number of students that we had, we lost roughly 20% of.
They just quit, I'm out, that kind of thing. But as far as what we did to kind of hold down the fort, we had a lot of students reach out and said, look, don't cancel my membership. They're not going to do the virtual, but just keep charging me. I want a place to go to when this is all said and done. Mostly what we did was virtual classes, of course. So that was predominantly kids that actually got on and utilized that. We also did some virtual meetups for the adults. So we just did like a hangout kind of thing. We did training a little bit in the parks. We got the kids together in the parks. The adults weren't really feeling that. And then we also did a virtual P&O.
Correct.
That was one of the things we did. And then we also did a virtual story time with Professor Boo.
Nice.
So we did Way of the Warrior Kid, and he would go on like at a predetermined time each week, and kids would log on and he'd read a chapter of.
So yeah, I think for us, part of what helped the most was just being connected. I know you came out with a course on how to be virtual, and how to set up and what to cover and things of that nature. Right. So I think being in the 18 group that we're in, that you run, being connected with other school owners and being able to talk and discuss and come up with what are you doing? How are you running your classes? And,
Right.
what types of drills and things? Because it was tough as a jiu-jitsu based program. That's not the easiest to do online. And so we started incorporating, we always did striking, but we just did more of it for the virtual. So being connected with those guys in the A team, yourself with the course that you did, having a structure and a setup and a support system, and the Maya folks as well, they were helpful in terms of encouragement, really, basically. So.
Nice to know you're not alone sometimes, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it is.
Well, I know you guys love marketing. If our viewers and listeners don't know, Guy and Rob actually are senior ad account managers at Grow Pro. They really were my first hires. Once we got about 10 accounts, I realized, man, this is a lot of work. I need some help. And they've been, with us since the inception. They're our only remote workers that we have. And, I bring this up just because they're really, really great at marketing. And that's kind of where I want to shift our talk to. So what type of marketing do you guys, there's variable marketing, things you change up, and there's kind of like recurring based marketing. Let's talk more about the recurring based marketing. What are you consistently doing that you're seeing is working at PAMA, which is, an acronym for Pendergrass Academy of Martial Arts, which can be a little bit of a mouthful. So we just say PAMA. So what are you guys doing consistently with your marketing at PAMA?
So the most consistent thing, of course, is digital because, as you said, we're senior ad account managers. So, the whole digital side of thing kind of jives with us. So that'd be pay-per-click, both Facebook, Instagram, Google ads, including YouTube, and recently TikTok, getting into that game, but also email marketing. We do we've done everyday direct mail marketing, word of mouth. I would say our top two are digital and then just referrals. Word of mouth is how we get, most of our students through the doors, but also special events.
Yeah, I would say recurring wise special events every year. You mentioned the acronym. We do a sort of a student appreciation.
Mhm.
We do a yearly anniversary event. We call it the PAMA-versary. A little play on words there, that's
it.
one of our biggest events, our
Yeah.
yearly that we learned from yourself and from the Maya folks. We do our yearly holiday event, which is massive for us, and which is good.
And the other special events that we do are like we're doing a women's self-defense this Saturday. And that Mother's Day, Father's Day, these types of events, I think helps us to build the culture that we want here. And it helps just with the word of mouth. And even if we don't, if it doesn't turn into a quote unquote mass intro, it's still, good vibes in the community, and, the parents love it and they're training, the kids are training, that kind of thing. But some of the other stuff that we do from a marketing standpoint in our area, we're able to use the bandit size, the road signs. So those work really well for us. And transparency, we did a good job prior to COVID with the rat cards in local businesses. That's something that we have to try to get a little more back on. But yeah, that's a good mix of what we do from a marketing.
Awesome. So kind of two follow-up questions. Number one, what's your typical budget for marketing, right? You've got all these kind of, as I say, lines out in the ocean, Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, Instagram ads. You're doing rat cards, you're doing bandit signs. What typically are you spending on a monthly basis, and does it change or does it stay the same? What does that look like?
So the bulk of the money we spend is in digital marketing. So I'd say we, on average, the low ball spend about $1,000 a month just in our, ads, Instagram, Facebook, Google, that kind of thing. We usually do about a 50-50 split between Facebook and Google. As far as the other ones, they're a little more variable. Like when we buy the bandit side, we might spend.
Usually it's seasonal. It's like when schools start back up, maybe summertime, we'll get a thing of 50 road signs, 100 road signs, whatever it is.
Yeah, but they usually last us a good bit of the year. So that's not something. So the bulk of the money is going into the digital marketing side of things. But, periodically, we might need some more rat cards or things of that nature. So you're talking like maybe an extra $100, $150 a month that we're spending on that.
And as, most people do, 3 times out of the year, we spend more money, right? Coming in summer, out of summer, and the new year. That's when we will take more money and just kind of hit it hard.
And, we might hit closer to $1,500, $2,000 during those time periods, but an average month is about $1,000.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, You guys are really in the industry. You recently spoke at Stephen Reinstein's event on stage. You had an opportunity to speak at one of my events a couple of years ago. You guys are a part of a lot of different networking groups, the A Team, Maya. You work with martial arts school owners in regards to running their ads. So you really are, in the industry. What would you say are some of the mistakes that school owners are making in terms of their marketing efforts in general?
So coincidentally, we're on the phone with a client yesterday, and he alluded to how a new school has opened up just 200 yards from him, like literally right across the street. And so we were talking specifically about his social media presence and being able to outmarket the other school. And I told him that one of the trends we're seeing, and we've discussed this before, where reels and stories are really outperforming like your normal feed post. And so I was recommending to him to, you need to go heavy on the reels, also on the stories, especially on Instagram. It seems like the number of views we're getting on Instagram versus Facebook is really just killing it.
I posted a reel yesterday at like 3:30 p.m., very odd time, and it got 3,000 views in a couple of hours. I mean, it just absolutely exploded. And one of the reasons why Instagram is really pushing people to do reels is because of TikTok, right?
Right.
Instagram is owned by Facebook, and everybody is on TikTok right now. And I know you guys have really did a hard organic effort as well as a paid effort on TikTok. What kind of content are you guys putting out organically on your TikTok account?
So what we're playing around with are really short clips, obviously, of self-defense moves. And look, one of the little hacks that we do is we just follow a lot of other people and we see what they're doing and see what's working. And
as you would say, R&D.
R&D. Most people think R&D means research and development. It really means rob and deploy.
So I'll give you an example of one. We sat down a couple of weeks ago and just brainstormed, so that we're not like, all right, what kind of here's for other school owners. Don't just like, all right, what am I going to do today? Actually sit down, take 30 minutes, brainstorm, come up with a list of different types of videos to do, so that you don't have to think about what should I do today. Now it's just a matter of, I just need to get it done. So that day that we sat down, we looked at, some of the other people in the A Team, Z's, she's killing it. So we looked at all the different ones and just typed out all these different types of videos she did. We follow Kyle Terra over in California. Some of the ones that he does, he did like this beginner, intermediate, advanced armbar. And so we did one that's like beginner omoplata, beginner, intermediate omoplata, advanced omoplata. Just took the same kind of idea
concept.
And just ran.
And we have probably at least 5 or 6 that have over 10,000 views.
That's amazing.
That's good.
That's great.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's interesting. The whole purpose of TikTok is to try to go viral. But then the question becomes, well, are you able to monetize that? I personally think TikTok for martial arts schools is great for brand awareness. It's great for just kind of top of funnel, getting people to know who you are. And I think one of the things that makes you guys really successful with your online presence, right? Whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on TikTok, is that you guys do a lot of batching. Can you kind of explain, what that looks like? Because I think this is where school owners kind of set themselves up for failure, is that, all right, I got to do a video a day. So each day I'm going to film a video, and that's not necessarily the best process. So, what does that look like for you guys?
So I used to be the one, I do more of the marketing. Rob does a lot of the stat stuff. I do most of the marketing, and I used to do 100% all the social media marketing, right? I think you might know my wife works for us, and she does a lot of this stuff, and she's a little more on the creative side of things. So we've been able to transition her into, I haven't done any of the Facebook post, Instagram post in a year, I think now, which is awesome. And one of the things we talked about recently was kind of making that switch to the strategy that we're using in terms of a normal feed post versus more of the reels and stuff. But going back to your question, how do we batch it out? So what we do is I gave her a template Monday through Friday, right? Here's the basic template that we're going to do. Now it's just a matter of coming up with what image are we going to use or what video we're going to use. So to a degree, she's not dumbed it down, but it's kind of made it simpler for her of what to do. We'll take a bunch of pictures on it.
So every Tuesday she comes in, we'll knock out a bunch of videos, a bunch of pics, and then
we'll batch it out in 1 hour time. So that way we've got enough to work with for the next couple of weeks.
The content's ready to go, and all she has to do is she can then take her time and produce
the different videos. And
correct.
She likes to edit the pictures and color and all that stuff. We also and I know that some other school owners do this. We had a lady come in last night, a professional photographer, just to come in and batch out new pictures, because we were finding that we're getting busier here, because we're just busier, and it's getting harder for staff to be able to take the pictures. And it just so happens that one of our students' moms is a photographer. So we worked out not a deal, but I mean, we're paying her, but she came in during class time and she took some amazing pictures, and we'll be able to, she probably took 100 pictures, and that's going to last us for the next few months.
I love it. I put a post out today about people who, utilize their own time to save money, when really you should just spend your money to be able to save your time. And that's really what you guys are doing. And I love how you have this dedicated filming day, right? I'm huge into kind of theming my days out. Monday is my meeting day. Tuesday is my training day. And I find that school owners who really struggle with getting assets and creating assets, right? That's one of our struggles that we have at GrowPro, are getting pictures and videos, is if you don't kind of have this setup of being able to batch it, it can just be very, very difficult to be able to produce. So I love that you guys are doing that. And, I think it's a great strategy. You went on, people can sometimes seem hesitant to go on to the new platforms, but if you want to learn the new platform, you've got to become a user of the platform. And that's exactly what you guys have done. You're following other accounts and watching what they're doing, and what's succeeding. And then you are replicating that and obviously putting your own spin on it. So really great job. One question that I ask everybody on this podcast, because if you go into any of the martial arts Facebook groups, probably on a weekly basis, you see this question is, what offer do you use? And I believe that almost all offers will work, whether it's a paid offer or a free offer. You got to find the offer that works best for you. But what's your typical bread and butter offer, right? Our offers will change with the season. But if you had to say, like, this is our bread and butter offer, what is it? How's it working? And why did you guys choose it?
Well, for us, the offer that has seemed to, at least and there's two parts to this, the number of leads we're getting in, as well as the quality of the lead. So for us, we felt like, from our experience and the data that we've seen, is that the paid offers is what works for us, right? We traditionally have done a 2-week offer, 2 weeks for $59. We do jiu-jitsu, so to be able to give someone a gi, if we wanted to give them a gi, especially an adult, it's expensive. So we got to cover the cost of that, right? But that's just kind of works. That's what's worked for us. As you mentioned earlier, we handle a lot of accounts for different school owners, and you might have one school owner that the 2 weeks free is just what they do. That's what they kill it with. And other school owners, it's some type of paid offer. We have experimented with a 4-week offer, and that's done really well, especially during the summertime. So this summer we'll probably switching over to a 4-week offer, if for nothing else, just to break a little bit of that
monotony and
exactly. The ad fatigue kind of stuff, because they see that same, they always do a 2-week trial, nothing's changed, so yeah.
Awesome. I love it. So a couple more questions on marketing. What would you say has allowed you to have not just like triple digit reviews, but a ridiculous amount of triple digit reviews? You probably have one of the highest scores in terms of a 5.0, and also just the number of reviews, which I think more business owners are understanding how important that is. What kind of initiatives did you take to attract such great reviews?
Well, Chris,
glad you asked.
I'm glad you asked. So the first one,
this is a good story, guys.
Right. The one that really catapulted us, in terms of getting over The triple digit, the 100 mark, was being in a competition with you, right? Which it really.
Which I lost. It's okay. You can tell them I lost.
We wanted you to say it. So essentially, it was a very friendly. Our school versus, it's a competition, our school versus another school, and say, look, guys, we're trying to hit so many numbers. We want to beat this other school. And if we win, we're going to take some money. We're going to have a little pizza party, whatever it is, but most people were just willing to do it just for the sake of competition.
Supporting their team.
It's us versus them. We want to win,
Right.
So that's what I'd say. That was probably one of the things, like I said, that catapulted us, got us over that triple digit mark. And then from there, it's really just having systems in place to be able to
collect them.
Ask for them. Most people say, well, how do you get them? The number one way, just ask. Just, hey, you mind giving me a review? Someone walks out of class and they're like, that was a great class. I'm glad you said that.
This morning, I was teaching a morning class, and I said, all right, guys, if you enjoyed that class, and I did like this, and they all said, give us a 5-star Google review. It's like ingrained. I said, I swear to God, I said, I'm going to video that one day so everybody believes me when I.
And again, so we have automation set up. People will get, we have email sequences that go out, and one of them is like, give us a review. If you've enjoyed your class or your time so far, hook us up. And we have links that take you straight to the page where you can give you got to make things as simple as possible.
It's in the student package.
New student welcome packs. There's a sheet in there. It's very clearly laid out on how to give it. There's a QR code that takes you right to it. So just things that are simplified. And there are certain times where people are the most excited, right after someone got their new belt. They're pumped after an in-house tournament. Just certain times that are very easy to get it, and they're more likely to give it to you.
Right.
I love it. So I'm going to ask you a question that I didn't send to you beforehand, but a lot of martial arts schools are operated either by significant others together or family members, right? So I'm curious, how have you guys set it up to reach this just enormous success, right? 350 plus students having a large, kids program, large adult program, while you're working with family, right? I know that your mom works there. I know Guy's wife works there. Any tips for school owners that are working with family members?
Get along.
And you can't say don't do it.
What's that? Don't do it.
Don't do it. Most time, don't do it. But I think, well, unless you got something. So I would say, and whether it's any kind of partnership, doesn't matter. If you're going to be there with people, everyone has to have their role. We all, I can do what he does. He can do what I do easily, but we all have our roles, things that we focus on. It's my responsibility to take care of all the stats and human resources. That's me. That's what I do. That's my role. His role is more of the marketing, more of the social media stuff, kind of planning those type things out. So I think just having those roles clearly defined, who's taking care of what, not just, hey, all this stuff's got to be done. Who's going to do it? I'm going to do a little bit this week, but next week I'm not. And it's got, everything has to be clearly defined, clearly laid out.
So one of the things we learned from you, you had read the book Traction years ago, and you've done some different trainings on different things that the whole visionary and
integrator.
That's the word I'm looking for. I feel like we both do that, right? So it's a little different. I think in other scenarios where you might have a husband, wife, or we're twins, so it's the dynamics a little different, because we've always had to share everything our whole lives, like literally, like clothes, cars, all that kind of stuff, right? But in other scenarios with family members, I think the roles can be blurred a little bit, so, but like Rob said, having those clearly defined, like, you're going to handle this, I'm going to handle this, and then I can do what he does, he can do what I do if he needs to. If I'm, if he's gone on vacation, I can do the stats. It's not a big deal. So
I mean, the most important, the most important follow-up question: who wins in a jiu-jitsu match between the two of you?
We ain't rolled in years.
Well, we did year before.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
last
true.
year before.
Yeah, we're getting a little older. I mean, relatively speaking, and on our birthday, last year was on our birthday, right? I think that Saturday we do an open mat here at the school, and we went live. We went live on Facebook.
And
oh yeah, we rolled. So
Nice.
You can go back.
You're
and
not
find
gonna.
it.
Well, I guess we'll keep it a secret, right? If you want to see who won, go to their Facebook page so you
Right.
can watch that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just called yourself old, not me. And usually, with years of experience comes wisdom. So, and I'd love for you both kind of to answer this separately, and maybe you have the same answer that both of you have. But if you were to start all over again, right? We're back to 2007. We're starting this journey together all over again. What's one thing that you would have done differently?
Get a mentor sooner, someone that can kind of help show, the right, the things to avoid, the right things to do. And then I would also say hire sooner, just hiring sooner. What about you?
Yeah, same. those would probably be my top two as well. Some I want to touch on, I guess it's kind of related to this, but some you mentioned earlier when it comes to marketing and whatnot, just to put a little spin on something. We've always been pretty in our marketing efforts, trying to be, we're big Dan Kennedy fans, being magnetic. And so putting yourself out there in a way that we've always tried to build a culture we've always been very family oriented, very kid, adult oriented. So everything that we put out there reflects that. We even had someone come in about a month ago and they actually signed up, I think, a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. He said when he came in, he knew exactly what he was getting into. He said, because we're so much out there with our presence, he knew what to expect. It wasn't like he was going to walk in and I don't know what type of school this is going to be. He knew exactly what type of school it's going to be. So I would say, in addition to the two things he said, is as you're thinking about, really think about what presence do you want to have? How do you want to be seen in the eyes of everyone in your community? And whatever that is, fall in line with it. And all your content should surround that, don't be inconsistent with what you're doing, I guess is basically what I'm trying to say. So I think that's what we've done a pretty fairly well job of is putting that presence out there. And this is who we are. This is the type of school we got. And if it's not for you, cool. But if it is, come on in, let's do it.
I love it. So any additional nuggets of wisdom or insight that you'd like to share with our listeners today?
I think for us,
you dropped a lot of gold bars already.
We tried to. I think it's like I said, getting involved, whether it's a mentor or an organization like Maya.
Let's take one of those a step further. When you're looking, so we went through, so it's no secret, you're one of our mentors, right? We've been working with you for like 5 years now, right? It took we went through several quote unquote mentors that we just didn't vibe with, that just bad experiences. And to be honest, I think a lot of school owners kind of fall into that, like, okay, I'm gonna try this program and it just didn't work, or it could be their fault because they didn't put the work in. But if it was a situation of like they just didn't vibe with that particular mentor or that group, they have a bad experience from that, so they don't never do it again. For us, we probably went through 3 different, people, organizations before we found you. So making sure that your core values, if you will, vibe with the people or the organization that you want to follow.
And it's not to say that organization or that person's bad or they don't know what they're talking about. It's just you gotta be able to connect with that person and be able to, because you got to trust that they're going to lead you down the right path,
right?
And
so like for you, for example, we trust, you're a hard worker, you're dedicated, you're loyal, you know what I mean? You got our back, we got your back. We started hooking up with Maya, Mr. Metzger, and Mr. Silverman. They're just two good people. It's like,
and they know what they're talking about. So it helps. And being connected in these groups, whether it be Maya, whether it be the A team, I could call Carlos, and ask him some questions. We have their numbers, we can message them at any time that we want to. That's the connections that we've built. And I think that's what's most important, is to have, kind of like what you said before, is that those connections, those people that you can kind of, so you don't feel like you're alone. That's the main thing. Because it could be, as entrepreneurs, it's tough. People don't understand. We joke around and we say, I used to work a full-time job, 40-hour week job. I went to work for myself. Now I work 80, like what the hell is that about? So it can feel weird at the top, in terms of owning your own business and everyone's coming to you for the answers, So it's good to have those connections, those people that know your pain, know your struggles, and give you advice or just a word of encouragement.
I love it. I want to ask one more question. we didn't really touch too much on staffing. And, it was one of the big mistakes that you said that you see school owners make, right? Like they don't get a mentor. They don't hire fast enough. You have an absolute rock star team. Why do you think that is? What have you guys done in order to attract rock star team members?
I think it comes down just like you attract students, you attract staff. It's the culture that you make. It's it's how you lead from the top. You know what I mean? It's the vibe that you give off. It's the way you run your business. We don't expect any more out of them that we wouldn't expect out of ourselves. That's just, yeah. Anything?
I would say there's a little bit of luck involved, because we Sue, for example, we went through quite a few program directors before we finally found one
which, before you go on with that, we talked about hiring quick enough. Sometimes people don't fire soon enough as well. That's another.
Sure.
But anyway.
Yes.
But the lady you're referring to, Sue, who's our program director, she's phenomenal. And everyone hires in different ways, whether they look externally or internally or whatever the case is. Her son trained with us a long time ago. He was a youth student, and then he had moved on. And years later, we ran into her. You ran into her somewhere, and hey, you need a job. She was working somewhere else. We sort of stole her, but we groomed her into what we needed to be. But she bought into the culture. She bought into what we stand for and the values that we have and all those kind of things, just like we talked about in the mentors of the groups we want to be involved with. She saw that in us, and yeah, we trained her to where she is now.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes, as well as the rest of your team, your lives that much easier, right? And I think this is just a huge mistake that school owners, especially in the martial arts, because we're so passionate about what we do, we stay in those roles and positions for far longer than it is what is best for our students and what is best for the company. And we, ultimately become the bottleneck. And I just think it's really important that, school owners know that one of the biggest mistakes most people make is just not hiring fast enough. And like Rob said, not letting people go fast enough if you know that they're, not a great fit. And it's not fun, right? Like having to let somebody go, having to fire somebody, that's not fun. It's not why we opened up our schools, but it is part of, the roles that we play. So if people wanted to, find you guys online or follow your social media profiles for your business, what would they look up in order to do that?
Just do a search for Pendergrass Academy of Martial Arts. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Google Business Profile.
Google Business Profile. Give that 5-star review.
Right. And if you're on this call and you'd like to if you enjoyed this podcast, give Chris a 5-star review.
Grace
There we go.
And give us
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, as always, it's always a blast talking to my two favorite twins. Really appreciate you taking the time to be on the 7-Figure CEO podcast. And I can't wait to see you in a little under 6 weeks at the 7-Figure CEO event, which I believe you guys are going to be sharing a 10-minute tactic on stage, right?
We just might be doing that.
If I didn't tell you, you are. So now you know.
Okay, then I guess we are.
Hadn't got verbal confirmation. But all right.
There it is. And it's recorded, so it's official. All right, guys. Have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.